Let's jump onto YouTube here. We'll be streaming today. Good morning, everyone. It is February 20th, and it is Thursday, almost done the short week with this low volatility, lower movement overall, and grindier stuff. Some of tech is exhibiting a little drawdown here. We saw reports of Palantir getting slapped down yesterday. Post Kramer. But let's talk about some of the news that comes up, and then we'll break down what we've got going on for today's thoughts and the overall futures market, as well as some other information. Realistically, with the futures market and just tech in general, we've seen attempted moves grind higher last few days here of this week, but to no avail. Yesterday, FOMC meeting minutes wrapped up. We got a little pump towards the afternoon session before the sell side jumped back in. So it seems like we keep pushing, huffing and puffing, but nothing wants to actually break higher, which isn't super typical after multiple tests in this area. Trading into these close to all-time highs. The ETFs made all-time highs, and it seems like some of the news that comes out is based on the DOGE, the DOGE, and the stimmy check, right? So remember, we saw stimmy checks that surfaced during the pandemic, and they might be making a comeback in a very different form here. The idea of the DOGE, the DOGE dividend, first surfaced on social media by Azoria CEO James Fishback, and was later pitched to the White House by Elon Musk. President Trump likes the idea, referring to the recent numbers coming from the DOG's cost-cutting efforts as incredible. Should the DOGE be able to cut $2 trillion from the federal budget, the government could use 20% of those savings to send 79 million American households that pay federal income tax, right? So it's not the biggest number, but a check for $5,000. So another 20% would go towards paying down debt, and the top DOGE priority remains to reducing the deficit to stop inflation and lower interest rates. The new scheme would be also incentivizing Americans to report waste, fraud, and abuse to the DOGE to hit $2 trillion in savings as a target. And Musk also already acknowledged that the $2 trillion will be hard to hit, and it appears that the value of some contracts and real estate entries posted to DOG's wall of receipts are not necessarily savings. The total amount saved thus far listed is $55 billion, which is very, very far away from the $2 trillion mark. Though some of those contracts stipulate the maximum price tag that could be awarded and not necessarily indicative of the amount spent. Savings listed on things like fraud detection, deletion, and workforce reductions are also estimated and may not denote the final numbers. Also, these dividends would be funded by money that's cut or defunded from prior funds allocated by Congress, setting up a situation that would likely involve wrangling over an Impoundment Control Act of 1974. It restricts a president from withholding funds that were appropriated on Capitol Hill, but it's also constitutionally could be appealed to the Supreme Court. The law may also be amended by Congress, or recessions. Canceled funds could also return to the Republican-controlled Congress, which would then have 45 days to decide the fate. Let me just see. I think my phone beeped here. So overall, FOMC meeting minutes yesterday, not really too much. We saw a little push to the upside, but overall things kind of flatlined along with these markets. So that's the major news that I see going on today. One of the big aspects here is looking at tech, right? Tech, NASDAQ, the overall market is appealing for the buy side momentum. Is just that the fluidity for the expansion is very dull, which over the last few days has led us to look for some possible short opportunities, and today might be one of those days. Now, today we're opening up in an area where on both NASDAQ and the S&P is kind of a midpoint ground within distributions that we'll take a look at in just a second, but the expansion in a lower volatility situation should have already been trickling higher, but as we see it, we had Meta pull back pretty drastically. It was one of the big names that was actually holding things up pretty steadily. We had, like I said, this was on Tuesday, I believe, the first day of the week, we had about a 3% pullback on Meta from its all-time high. This thing went down 6% about. Palantir pulled back, not that it's a massive constituent of the NASDAQ or the S&P that's supposed to hold this thing together, but you have weakness in Amazon's trying to gap down a little here. Nvidia's trying to hold about with this expansion higher. It's filled the large gap that came from DeepSeek. You also have Apple pulling higher. Microsoft, with an announcement yesterday with quantum computing, has caught a bit of a bid from its auction low, but struggles across the board, right? A lot of these names are not really that close to all-time highs per se. It's going to take a decent press to the upside swing. Like, for example, if we're looking at Microsoft from its current standpoint, it has to rally 13% to hit that high. Nvidia is a lot closer realistically, but it still has to rally 9%, right? Apple as well, Apple as well has to make a push of about 7%. Meta, I think we just talked about it, has to make a push about 7%. Amazon has to make a push of about 8%, right? So you can see the patterning here. Google needs to rise about 12, and then Tesla needs to rise about 40. So it's a lot realistically. So these big tech names are still pretty far from their all-time highs and are kind of holding things about as the equity market in itself is continuously trying to rally, right? Emphasis on trying. And what we're seeing is equally weighted ETFs and indexes here are still holding a little weaker. The Dow Jones, which is value-based, has not been able to really kick its heels up and start running up to the upside swing. So there is a few concerns here, what's looking like an internal aspect more so than the actual indices themselves. So as we look at this, what we got going on here, we have the S&P and the NASDAQ. Let's break down our thought processes on those. Here we go. We'll start off with the S&P. So, excuse me. Two of the things that we warned about this week to start the week off was 61.43 and 61.57 area. Those two blocks are pretty strong resistance areas for those sellers to come back around. There were multiple failures from weeks before. So it's just going to be a tougher struggle to get through into those all-time highs without really expanding through those. And we've seen the difficulties that were presented this past week over and over and over again, which was very annoying. You have this auction top, right, on the S&P 500. You have this other area over here, and then this 75 that has yet to be traded. But these two regions, excuse me, still getting sick, geez, 61.57 and 43. So these two regions, based on the larger 200-day profile, very important aspects for the buy side to kind of pull over. And over the last few days to start the week, you had the overnight fails, right, on the overnight, so we look for the sell on the day. Yesterday pre-market, we fail on the overnight. The seller looks a little more prominent until, right, we got a little afternoon bid. Today, so far, we are trying to hold out above that 43, which is a good starting sign. But again, we have the issue with 57. Excuse me. So if I'm looking at the S&P and I'm trying to be bullish, realistically, I want to see the expansion through that 57, right? If I want to be bullish, I think that 43 should hold. We should get a rebid through that 57, and they want to push that momentum higher. I think at this point, though, we're just trading and rotating around a very wide range right now. And with 2 days left, including this one, to the week to wrap up the shorter week, the expansion seems a little less likely, but I do want to be prepared for it just in case. So the way that things are shaping up right now, I'm still going to be using 43 on the S&P as a pivot zone, where I'd like the buyers to hold above, but it's pivotal that we start breaking above that 60 from that move. Otherwise, like, you're going to get the acceptance under 43, and honestly, things get weaker from there. I think under 43.40 on the SPOOs, like, it's a mission. It's very tough, realistically, for the buyer to come through, and then we're probably going to see that 15 to 18 to the downside that we saw earlier this week, if I'm not mistaken, on Tuesday. If we take a look at what's going on here from the NASDAQ's perspective as well, to kind of zero in on this. NASDAQ, very similar story, very wide range. I had located two areas of support structure where I wanted to be long to see the continuation for that upside swing, which is 22,040, 050 area, and that 22, let's say 110 to 120 area, which was pretty much the low of yesterday. So those two are still big factors in trying to hold out the bid side as we've expanded through these major distributions that we most recently saw from last week. We have a general distribution that shapes up from around 120 all the way up to about 360 here. And we have a midpoint area that's important to us at 220. So far, the failures under 220 have presented some downside momentum movement. We have a lot of people that have accumulated negative delta and getting trapped down into that 120. So the way that I see this right now is, again, if I want to be bullish, I need to see the expansion above that 220. Otherwise, like multiple tests of 120 is going to be harder to keep buying those, where I think that we might undercut that and trade 050, 040 for the buyer. So realistically, if I do want to be long today, I want to see the expansion above that 220 so we can see something more real, right? Something more aggressive, something that shows that the buyer is there, and we can see that continued expansion from that momentum move. I don't want to keep looking at that 120 area and trying to buy it. I bought it once this week. I missed it yesterday. I bought options at the lows yesterday, which worked out pretty well. But other than that, it's just like too many tests of this area, too much accumulation of negative delta into that low, which can get undercut and then get a head fake before the rebid. So I would like to see 220 burst today, and then we can look for pullbacks for the continuation of that move. Otherwise, like I got to be very nimble around 120 on the NASDAQ, right? Under 220, you have this huge area of volume from yesterday that wants to hold the balance lower. So you get a bit of sell side pressure from that area. So what I'm trying to say is that over the past few days, we've had very slow, grindy movement, especially in the morning session, which has not really shown too many trade opportunities throughout the day, like one or two here and there. So it's been a very, very slow morning this week, and I could see more of the same. So unless I'm trading the key areas and extremes that I want to trade, then I'm not going to touch this thing. I don't want to look at order flow that might come in through these minor areas in between. It's just like, it's not worth it for me into this current market volatility. Another thing is, with this slow grind, a range is more likely to kind of shape out. And right now on this overnight, we don't really have too much information. There's no crazy excess, so I don't have that much of a directional confidence in terms of the bias. I only have levels to play from where I would be biased above 220 on the NAS for the bid, rather than me trying to keep buying 120. And I'd be biased currently a little long on the S&P, but we need to see above 57. So let's see how that kind of shapes up. If you do have any questions, let me know. We'll see how the day unfolds here in the morning session. We've also launched our WAP service, so it's another platform there where you can check us out and gain access to TRADEPRO Academy through WAP. You just type in TRADEPRO Academy into WAP and you'll find us. Other than that, if you have any questions, let me know. We'll put on Boxy and we'll take a look at this. Doing pretty well, honestly, Mokhtar. I feel like, I don't even know if I'm getting better or I'm getting more sick. Like, I started coughing more today, which is not great. WAP is like an ecosystem for like trading rooms and gambling and whatnot. It's interesting. Anyone see Pi Network? I don't know what that means, Zane. Are you a bot? Stop the screen share for a second here. We'll wait for everyone to come in. Morning, Steven. How you doing? Let me just increase the volume. Good stuff. Yeah, no, we're switching. Well, I hope my throat and voice isn't as bad as yours. Let's keep it that way. Yeah, otherwise we'd have to cancel this room. There's no way. Right. We'll both be like choking through it. But yeah, you can go ahead. We'll take a look at oil, then we'll look at some equities and whatnot. I'll type in some stuff into Discord, and then we'll go from there. That's good. Good morning, Victoria. Good morning, TRADEPRO Academy. All market is flat. We opened like 4 cents higher than we
yesterday was a down day on the pit. The Govex last night opened on its VWAP and has kind of just been grinding up. So you can see we're above the pivot, which is sitting at 72.23. We caught our open this morning in the 72 low 50s. Working our way up towards our one, which is at 72.80. Trends are green. VWAP looks like it wants to come above the pivot. So long is probably going to be your best bet. Get a retrace off of this back down. Maybe not all the way to the opening range high, but a bit, and you could probably close your eyes and buy it and get on the trend. So we'll watch it trade it. Let me know what's up. Victoria, back to you.
Cool. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see if you have any questions. I can't see the screen good. Well, I don't know what to do about that. Get glasses. Thoughts on ICT? You know, like, whatever works, I guess. I think, like, there are some concepts there that have helped a lot of people in the trading community, but it just turned into a cult where they just made fancy words for things that already exist. Overcomplications. That's my thoughts. Wow. Even if the screen was bigger, it's probably still going to be too small. I don't know. What do you want to see on this screen? What do you need to see? Make it full screen. That'll probably help. Any opinion on exo charts? I don't know what that is, so I can't have an opinion on that. But if you let me know, maybe. Maybe a very short-sighted opinion, but I don't know. Vic's plan is do nothing. I don't know. Like we're in between different areas right now, so it's kind of a wait and see. Like I do like SPOOs to hold above 43, but like both of these, if there's going to be bullish momentum on this today, like you need an expansion above like 57 on SPOOs and 220 on the NAS. If these guys can like rebid pretty aggressively, like this, right, through this like 220 area, catch a bid like 270 or something, then I'd be liking the pullbacks into these to continue the upside. I'm not long the 43, and I don't have like great thoughts about it right now because of these like kind of failures under this 57. So like it's a bit touchy right now.
Morning team, morning Vic, morning Boxy, morning Pros. What's up, guys? Good. Yeah, we're deep within balance, like same balance been trading like for the last like 3 or 4 sessions here. Even on the overnight, we couldn't escape that. So yeah, I see like what I'm saying. We need an expansion move together, like some type of momentum to try to get on the pullback. So far, it's almost like the same information that we had as of yesterday's open. So not much new.
Yes, like yesterday I missed a trade. There wasn't really too much else after that, you know? Like
Yeah, exactly. The day kind of ended at that point. Like, yeah. It's like, we just need to expand outside of this balance, like one direction or the other. Ideally leaning to the upside because we have a closer target here at the all-time high. I think we can like kind of peek into that before, we see a big reversal. So we'll see how things develop. So far this week from the start, it's just been trading like that, like 250 on the NQ, like 120 extend a little bit outside the parameters of that balance and, kind of like snap back right into it. Great call yesterday in the student Zoom session. Great work, Vic and everyone. I love that Mike jumped on and Brian brought up a great point in terms of like what you kind of need to actualize your trading plan. Kind of make it your own and review it yourself, not just hear the explanation before you kind of start trading, because this way you're more likely to stick to it more. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty solid yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't talk about MSA. That's crazy.
That was so surprising.
Yeah, today my prediction for the market is going up or down. There's going to be some kind of change or no change at all. To answer some of these questions on YouTube, the time frame. I'm not using time frames. These are the top chart is NASDAQ. The bottom chart is S&P 500. It's a 12 point and a 12 tick chart. 12 points on NAS, 3 points on the SPOOs. Exo chart. I haven't heard of that. In terms of a platform, I honestly don't really have too much of an opinion that I can share with that without having looked at it. But if it has like capabilities like Sierra Chart or something similar to like Motive Wave or Quant Tower, I'd assume it's fair, right? It's pretty solid. I think those are pretty solid platforms overall. I do still like Sierra Chart the best. I was waiting for gold. Speaking of gold, we talked about that I think last week. I was waiting for a level like a decent bit lower. I think it was maybe 850 or 840, something like that. That never traded. Or 2840, 2850, that never traded. We just kind of rotated higher. With like gold and even crude, I was looking at like big points of these like volume profiles to look for, I guess, like something that you might even call a swing necessarily for the upside. I missed them both. I was looking at $70, give or take 5 cents on crude oil on Sunday or Saturday whenever I was talking about it. And the low was 70.12 on the overnight, so obviously nothing there. I guess I can't get like non-precise with some assets. I'm so used to like S&P and NASDAQ. I'm like 5-10 points room for error, whatever. Some assets don't like that.
Do you trade gold on the options?
Usually yes. I'll do calls on GLD. I did them. Yeah, it's the most liquid one. Like I did them more last year. I think I had like 3-4 trades on them, but I haven't been able to pick anything up this year. Why is gold going up so much? Probably like inflation fears. Precious metals are taking a nice bid over the last few years. I've been bullish on precious metals for the last year and a half, and it's doing pretty well. I still have that ETF I talked to you guys about long time ago. GLTR. Picked it up at like 78. No, a little higher. Probably like, I think my average is probably like 83 or something. Trading at 122 right now. I'm satisfied. The silver hasn't run up that much, unfortunately. That was another one that I was swinging along with gold, but like gold is the clear winner, just frickin' green only. Last time I bought gold GLD, the Spider ETF, it was trading at 213 or 214. It's now trading at 270, so I'm not long that right now. China buying tons of gold. Smart. Make it go up. Had a minute.
We have Goolsby 5 minutes after though.
Oh my god.
Really?
Am I seeing that right? Fifth Goolsby speech.
One speech of US Senator Warren is to convene a forum to probe Trump's and Musk's impact on the CFPB.
Everyone's idol Goolsby. Maybe shake this thing up.
More from separated news. The number one is to avoid a period of pain.
Yeah, there's the open. Give it some time here. A little press. Attempted higher, rejecting. Like, what did we see last few days of this week off the open? Just slow, sideways shit. The S&P yesterday for like the first hour was trading in like a 7-point range. It was ridiculous.
After that opened up that upside, and it was like,
Yeah. The phantom fills that never filled. I have like 1-2 of those trades a week. I'll never forget it until the week's over. And then I forget it. And then I get new ones that I need to forget.
constantly downloading traumas.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I missed 150 points yesterday. It's okay, I'll miss another 150 today.
One day I'll get it.
One day I'll get it. NASDAQ still fighting with this 220. S&P above the 43, like trying to hold. Even NASDAQ's not moving that much. That's crazy.
I know, man. Right off the open, NASDAQ looks like S&P yesterday. S&P even looks worse.
Yeah, if possible. NASDAQ failing this 220. This 220 is a freaking mess. A lot of negative delta built up around that 220 on the overnight. There's a NASDAQ sell. That'd be the same shit over and over again, Fed. You remember every morning they sell 220, they come down, bring it down to 120, rotate a bit, buyer comes in. Such is life.
One down to 120. Same level as yesterday.
This time it just knifes through, drops another 100 points. Like, no. Yeah, they're trying to sell this. Surprise, surprise. You get this like weird little midpoint area around like 170 that like gives you a little confidence that someone's getting stuck, maybe lure you in. I talked about this yesterday and earlier this morning that I just don't want to trade these like midpoint areas. I don't care. 172, 173. S&P 45. Just delta. A lot of negative build up there. Which is, I guess it's good that you have that much like of imbalance shaping up at that area. Jeez. Because you have excuse me. You have this like area over here, the midpoint 220 on the NAS. You got this like clustering of delta over here. It presents the opportunity for the sell side to continuously try to hammer it, right? It's going to be a difficult place to move through on the buy side, but if it can move through, right, that develops a very nice potential expansion to the upside swing from that area. $95 rebid. Instantaneously off that guy that got stuck into like 175. But again, right, this is like a midpoint area. If anything, like you come back clusters of 210, 215, 220, if they start holding the offer there, it's like a little baby pullback to continue the potential of the downside move here. Something I'll watch. Still only like 7 minutes off the open, there's time. $22,000. Whoa. Someone comes in on the reoffer pretty heavily right at that negative delta start. Unfortunately, didn't want to come back into that.
Paragraph, it says Israeli Minister of Strategic Affairs Ron Dermer is expected to meet White House envoy Steve Witkoff in the US on Thursday to begin talks on the second phase of the Gaza hostage and ceasefire deal. He's citing an Israeli official.
Where's Goolsby?
I have this guy at like 9:35 a.m.
More Mexican news. President Sheinbaum asks Mexico gasoline sellers to accept price limits. Says likely to reach a deal on the gasoline price cap.
Is that what it is? You know the Wall Street breakfast thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's showing like Fitzgoolsby speech 9:35 a.m. Like this, they don't say anything on the news book.
Interesting.
One fig.
Yeah.
Kind of need them right now, but
Yeah, honestly, otherwise we're not going to be doing anything today again. I'm looking at this from a more bearish perspective right now, but it's honestly just not doing anything.
S&P holding towards those like mid 40 support.
Mm-hmm.
NASDAQ has that resistance right up there at 220. Little divergence right now. Unless I'm uptick, unless I'm downtick.
A lot of buying trying to come into that S&P. I'm waiting. Seems like that sell from that 220 off the open was a little short-lived. It's still an area of interest, I would say, just because you had a lot of sell pressure between 210 and like 220. So I'm watching her. What was the high of that move? 207.75, nice. Rub my magic lamp and my crystal ball. My neighbors are just blasting music. You probably can't hear it, but
What do you ask for when the genie comes out?
number one, health, so I don't feel like shit.
That's fair.
It's a very
That's
important
needed.
one. Very important.
Yeah.
Number two, Number two, to eliminate the thought of MSA from everyone's mind and vocabulary.
Wow, that's an altruistic.
Ultimate hater. No, I'm kidding. I'm trying to match quant tower charts with what I see in these. These are the options. Which one do I pick? Range bars. Range bars. Well, that's a big ass buyer that got jammed on NASDAQ at 213. Let's see. S&P still kind of looks like bum. One touch to the ground. That's how this market works. S&P looks like it wants to break under 43.
Considering the short here, though.
Yeah, I just don't think I'll get filled.
Yeah.
These just fucking one touches, bro. You're like, this is... I didn't even bother trying to set the limit this time. I don't want to be that disappointed. Like, we were talking about 210, okay, so we'll get stuck just 30-point reversal. Like, alright. S&P just looks sad, man. These guys want lower. It's just a matter of... Too much accumulation into these highs. Sellers taking control. Oh, well. Holy shit. Ghouls be talking? 160, 150s. I think I'm just gonna have to start just putting the limits out, you know? Say fuck it.
Like offers, you offer right below.
You mark it in. You just mark it in.
Mark it in at this point. It's like, what's the point of waiting for accumulation?
Nah, there's no point, man.
Accumulates.
Commencing a market update of the US cash open. In terms of indices, they do open lower across the board. Plus, continued weakness seen on Wednesday for SPX. That's down about 40 basis points. NASDAQ down about 30 basis points. Unperformance seen in the Russell down about 60 basis points. And Dow Jones down about 0.5%. On sector performance, we do see healthcare, the sole sector in the green, up about 0.25%. While staples are the clear laggard, followed by utilities and discretionary. On staple underperformance, that does come amidst Walmart's guidance disappointing on the FY and next quarter. In FX, the dollar is softer in a risk-on environment with the G10 strength seen across the board, led by the yen and to a lesser extent antipodeans. For dollar yen, that currently sits at 149.86. Treasury yields do gain in the background, and Treasury yields see downside for the Treasury curve, which is currently flat. 20 yields coming down about 2.8 basis points. Recently, we did hear from Treasury Secretary Besson, who noted this need yields to come down for growth to go up. Yields to come down under US President Trump. If we could see that for 52 weeks, that would be great. Elsewhere in crude, prices are firmer after seeing the choppy price action in the European market.
And a big buyer is stuck at 170 to reoffer.
At 72.58, likewise for Brent up about $0.50 at 76.60. This for the upcoming energy updates, we do have EIA ahead. That'll be in focus following last night's bigger crude bill than expected.
Down we go, cheese.
Yeah, bar gets stuck right on right.
Natural gas pipeline repairs.
One touch piece of shit market.
Located in Carter County, Oklahoma.
Rebid off 140. Are we gonna do this dance again, brother? No, I start looking for the accumulation to swing this thing back up to 220. It's kind of sucks since NASDAQ, or sorry, S&P's under 43.
S&P is too weak and too far from any support. Like the closest support that I have is like about 18 to 15 here. There's a lot of room to the downside.
Yeah. There's like a little dinky level at 29, but dinky for a reason. And if this if Nas just keeps whipping around one touch here and there, then this makes it nearly impossible for me to trade this.
The most immediate level for the sell side here is where the accumulator then rotated most recently, which is 165, 170. The issue is this is kind of in the middle. It's not necessarily a region. I'd rather a break below 120 and then look for the sell.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not gonna sell this here now. I missed that. I missed that 210. I'm not gonna chase this. If anything, I'm looking for the longs. The way that these guys keep rebidding the shit out of this. It's a big seller on this. Let's see if they get jammed.
Just seeing some attribute the recent downside in cruise should relate to stocks like
Yeah, Mike, around that like 101 something, like there could be something there for the long reversal, but right now, like disappointing views. Seller's still holding on to this right now. $129. S&P 36 trying to hold for some reason.
Further on that, between Russia and Saudi Arabia, they will continue to cooperate closely with the framework, within the framework of OPEC+.
Knife, 115. Well, these are the things, you know. You look for a nice short, someone gets stuck, drops 100 points, and you're left sitting out looking like a monkey.
FY, that's 17.76 billion. FY EBITDA, 1.52 billion. For that FY revenue, that's 17.8 billion. Above the expected 17.16 billion.
This is a shitload of selling that just keeps hammering into this NASDAQ. Some all-time high bullshit this is. Get these guys jammed. Oh, fuck, that's a juicy buyer.
Yeah, we do have a couple bits of data for the Eurozone.
Let's see.
Confidence flash. Expected to rise slightly to negative 14 from the prior minus 14.2.
Let's see if they want to hold. I'm waiting for some kind of like imbalance to get created here. Otherwise, like, I'm not going to sell these lows.
Also looking out potentially for banks per minute, although worth noting some other calendars do have it from 5 p.m. London time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. And just a reminder of what banks go last did.
Whoa.
There's no buying this.
There's this in a split decision of
Just nuking.
with heat, the dissent and voting for a 25.
I'll take that. I'll take that last move.
Holy fuck.
Below the 100s. If like it rebounds like immediately above 120, but look at that.
Like, there's a shitload of selling going on at this like 97 or whatever. Like, whew. Yeah, the buying's dead. I'm watching. At least I didn't even put the limit, so I'm not like super disappointed that I didn't fill 2 times. A thought is not a trade. My God. This is it's okay that I'm not buying this. I'm just looking at this. I'm not like trying to be like long everywhere. It's just I missed the short, and now I'm looking, is there any kind of imbalance? I don't want to get caught up into this, whatever the hell this is. We're at a good spot though, man.
Yeah.
And if this one touches, that's going to be annoying. So I'm just going to put some limits out to buy into this, like, 49.50. Trade at 0.40, 0.50, fucking one touch, and if this goes back up to oblivion, then you know what? It is what it is.
Just making you aware of commentary from US Commerce Secretary Lutnick says, I do not see tariff policy.
I think it's a okay idea to see if I can buy it into here. If it just knifes and dies, then it goes into the auction lower. But I think there's reasoning for the buyer to try to hold out. It's just that, like, my entry or my limits don't seem to be respectable.
news for Eli Lilly, LLY, ongoing trials of Eli Lilly's next gen obesity drug. Several trial participants
Okay,
are
I've filled a few.
too much weight.
Like trying it to. That's the.
You see this like big negative delta 0.80s, 0.90s. I feel like it's gonna cause some problems. Not that the 0.75 isn't causing problems right now.
And in about 9 minutes' time, that's about 5 past the hour. President Zelensky is set to speak on the economy and monetary policy. Reformer expecting a text release and Q&A. The last speak in early January, so much attention will be on the commentary related to data since, particularly for January, as well as the job support. As a reminder, though, the President did say
Okay, that's a fill and a half.
and wait.
I don't like that. That's getting nuked. Alright, there's my long gun. Yeah, it was... Oh, I'm not fully out of this. I still like this area. This is the worst part. I'm gonna try it again, meaning I'll do one more add into this. And that will be it for this attempt. Consolidate these stubs. This is pretty aggressive on the sell. My beautiful 040 area. How they've disrespected you.
Just approaching 1 minute to the top of the hour, are looking out for the US leading index change. That's seen
Yeah, I don't like this.
1%, and Eurozone consumer confidence flash seen rising to -14 from
I do not like this continued offering right now. Alright, I'm out of this. I'm done buying this. It was an okay shot into the area, some accumulation, but like, damn, this downside day. Just opening things up.
10 seconds.
10 seconds till some news as well. It's fantastic.
And leading index change, that's down 0.3%. So it's steeper decline than the expectations had. We were looking for 0.1% fall.
This thing's really taking a beatdown right now.
Just worth noting, for that leading index change, the prior decline of 0.1% was revised up to growth of 0.1%. And just seeing Mexico minutes now across, all members said that the weakness of the Mexican economy intensified in Q4 2024.
We've run through a lot of the balances to the downside. Like realistically now it's even more confirmed bearish under this like 0.20. S&P just
The Eurozone consumer confidence
weak.
flashing at negative 13.6 above the expected negative 14. And more from Mexico minutes regarding domestic demand. Most members noted that private consumption continued moderating.
There's some heavy offering here. I don't mind being short. It's just like from these areas, these pullbacks are very minor.
Most of the US cash flow are seeing continued downside. S&P down about 1%, NASDAQ down 1.3. Not seeing anything fresh behind the move. As always, on the lookout, just seeing further weakness post the US cash flows.
S&P into 0.5.
And just as a reminder, we did have continued as well as those.
I'm liking the idea of SPOOs rotating here as a little fade.
Yeah. I like spoos now. I kind of want to throw the second one here.
I want to see if they come down to that 0.5, 0.4, how they act, because like these baby pullbacks get sold off really aggressively. I'm gonna put some limits on these spoos. Wait, I need some stubs on these, don't I? But let's see if I can get a fill on this. On the ES. You bastards. Nice. I'm gonna have to cancel this. I'm not gonna get filled. This one touch bullshit and NASDAQ trying to rip too. I don't watch NASDAQ at the area of massacre into that 0.40, 0.50 again. Because that's like the continuation for this auction acceptance. A lot of selling that got built out over there. What a freaking rip, damn.
Just around a minute now until that commentary from Fed newsletter.
Thanks for getting moving. All the Fed speakers are in today. I'm working overtime.
Where are you looking for a target on
On NQ, if I got it, it'd be like 0.50, 0.40, but like I'm looking for that area to see if we can actually get the continuation to the downside swing from there. This is a good one, man. That was hard to get on board. These one touches are just beating my ass. Super strong bid here. These guys just flush the shit out of this. That's gonna be a little annoying. There's a lot of delta around like 0.55, 0.60 on the NASDAQ. Like 20 on the SPOOs. Honestly, if we like my idea at least right now is to see this area accumulate so we can fail back down, see these guys rotate lower, um, rather than kind of just reverse this whole V bottom. If we go up and we just expand, like so be it, right? I'll have to flip long, but right now, the idea for the short is what I'm looking at.
Russia has extended the gasoline export ban for non-producers by a 6-month period. That is an extension from the March expiry. So that's Russia extending the gasoline export ban for 6 months from March for non-producers, according to rear citing sources. Despite on yesterday's FOMC finish, quite a few from Goldman Sachs, they do now expect the committee, that's the Fed, to slow pace balance sheet.
Try to limit into the short at the 0.40 on the NASDAQ. I'll even try shorting the SPOOs at these 18s. I'm just like freaking slow, man.
Well, you're sick.
I guess. Okay. I might cancel these limits for now. Well, there's the idea going, I guess. Doesn't really help me that much, but...
I got out of the long yes to look for the short, and I missed the shorts.
Excellent.
Bro, I was even aggressive of like trying to chase it down, and like it came down to like 230, and I'm like, hey, Jesus. He's moving fast.
Yep. I don't like this market either. Couldn't get filled in that, so...
Just make you aware, I've seen reports that the conference between Ukrainian President Zelensky and the US-Ukraine and Russia envoy Kellogg has reportedly been cancelled at request of the US. Looking out for clarity on that and confirmation that the event itself has been cancelled. But yet there are some corroborated reports that the conference between Zelensky and Kellogg, that's the US envoy, has been cancelled and also by the US. Also on from the quite critical commentary received from US President Trump in the last few sessions, the commentary from some of his other leaders
This has the potential to create a higher low. A lot of accumulation of volume trying to get through here, a lot of buying trying to come through here. Like, it was a good idea to continue from that 0.40 on NAS, 20 on the SPOOs, but if we can make a higher low and start pulling back up, honestly, I gotta start flipping the bias at that point. It's imperative for the sellers to not let prices see 0.50 on NAS, 20 on the SPOOs.
Retrieve from the System CEO Griffin says that the uncertainty in the US market is making it somewhat difficult to invest.
I know, brother. This is a crazy idea. But what if this is a higher low here?
Yeah, those rotations here, the accumulation, they look juicy for the potential of a higher low. Tough to put on that trade because number one, stop is not protected. Number two, the real areas like around 900, 960.
Yeah.
That's like.
I'll be buying into that 0.40, like, ugh.
Another retest of 0.50s can also be tough.
I think if we get back to 0.50, we start turning things around to the upside. I think the buyer's really getting control of this right now. Let's see here. Back to key area. There's a lot of pressure from 0.50 to 0.60 from these sellers.
Back into resistance, sellers are getting pushed aside right now. The idea of selling is there, it's just the execution isn't right now because the setup isn't there either. This is the second retest of a key area. Like, on the last retest we could have turned a new low right
Yeah, like for me to reverse this, which I'm thinking of right now, is like I want to see these guys pump above that like 0.80 area because they got rejected super hard there. That's kind of what stalled this out. And then I'll start buying into this pullback should we get it. S&P, right? I was thinking about these guys into this most recent low, but it's just like a different kind of order flow based trade. They're still in control, the sellers. There's still a lot of momentum around 0.60 into these like low 20s. Like Fatty said, the fact that we didn't make a new low on this is honestly very worrisome. I just would want to see more of an expansion higher to confirm things.
That's fair. That's the least you can ask of these buyers.
Let's see, moment of truth very close to that 0.80, 0.75. Spoos and NASDAQ testing the area of interest. Couldn't make a new low, right? From here where we were trying to sell it here, they couldn't make a new low where we started noticing that the order flow is coming. You test the area again, you're probably not going to hold it. I'm looking for like a flipping point right now. I want to be on the first move. First move is getting disbanded. Nice bid, bastards. Let's see if they can pull back. Big seller. I think it's a transition point right now. I just gotta wait for these guys to actually pull it back for me to buy it. I'm slow on the trigger. Which means if I don't get filled, it's probably gonna be a good trade. Let's see, Spoos. Kinda wanna do both of these. I think the potential's there, man.
Next on the schedule in around 10 minutes time, we have the weekly EI gas figure for a draw of 188 BCF from the prior draw of 100.
I like to buy the same area I bought last time, 0.40, 0.50, but my god.
Creeping up,
Yeah, this is lovely. Or reverse this whole shit, aren't they? I'm waiting. I can wait. I like to see this area on SPOOs, maybe like 16, 18. On NAS 040. Yeah, I feel like they've reversed it, man. Like, enough of this sell bullshit. They just needed better buyers at lower prices. Just happened to be so that they wanted to break the 040 to find them lower. These sellers don't scare me yet.
From Fed stating that before the recent uncertainties, the path to the 2% inflation target, that did look good.
So I'm a little stuck at 060 on this SPOOs. Oh my god.
NASDAQ got stuck with the 060 and rebid.
Yeah. Still potential
So
here.
man.
Yeah. I'm not gonna buy this high. Like, I like it where they got imbalanced before. I'll wait. If it trades, it trades. If it doesn't, then I guess it's just that kind of day for me.
I have two trade ideas, honestly. It's like either hot fake into like 110, 120 on InQ. That's a key level, honestly. I have like kind of reject from there, and from there I try to short with like more like least considering that hey, we have like upside structure or pullback. I would love to see it like 210, 010 on NASDAQ. I wouldn't mind that around 040 as well. So yeah, those are kind of like what I'm looking at. Either short 110
I'm looking at not getting filled.
Market order, bro. This is what it says.
Just looking on the prospects of tariffs is historic that they do lead to a price increase, and the Fed would then have to assess that.
This is some bullshit.
Just worth acknowledging, seeing a little bit of further pressure in the year current by 664 low. Actually, which does have pages across the board do live for dollar yen. That's back to a 149.67 trough, getting continued lows there. Also, our euro and the K will getting on for highs for the session as well. As we continue to live that outpouring from overnight data. Further from Goolsby says they've now moved to a period of like stable full employment in Goolsby's personal opinion.
Oh, now Goolsby comes on. 9:30
Really?
to 10:30. Then he just say Goolsby something?
I don't know. I'm looking at this price and I'm like, what the fuck? Why is the market doing this to me today?
Oh, like the shallow pullback.
Yeah, this is nonsense.
Essentially, a note for Apple, just Fox Business' Lawrence just pointing out that cameras did notice the Apple CEO Cook moving into the White House in around the last 10 minutes or so. So it does appear as if Apple CEO Cook is in the White House currently, unclear as to exactly what his business in there is or if he will be meeting with the voters.
I'm still waiting to buy both of these lower.
Just rounding it out on that EI and gas print, looking for a draw of 188 BCF, a prior draw of 100.
So reverse bullshit came out at the one touch bounce off that 0405 on the S&P. Honestly, like without just setting a limit there, it's mission freaking impossible to get very aggressive on that. I even tried a little higher, nothing. Constant rebids here.
As the press conference that happened between the US and Ukraine has been cancelled.
Our accumulation right now between the 080 and 090 kind of looked like the price action between the 2000 and 205 on NQ. Like accumulation that came right before.
It's 4.375%, 2014 deal that'll take place on the 27th, and that's via an auction. It's just
Accumulation that came before the jump higher.
right meeting. So in terms of the language from
Yeah.
the Secretary was stated that it was cancelled at the US request. The US appears to have disputed the use of the word cancelled, noting that there wasn't actually an official schedule. It's also worth pointing out the journalist highlights that as the meeting did commence, the greetings were positive. So it appears if the meeting at least began with a positive tone. Back to Fed Goolsby says credit conditions have been fairly tight.
Oh my god, a lot of buying going on
On
with
the
this.
US fiscal front, we're seeing that the Senate Appropriation Committee Chairperson Collins has informed a group that talks over negotiating an overall funding level ahead of the 14th amendment shutdown deadline are, quote, not going well.
Gimme pullback.
The information says that Salesforce is reportedly in discussions with Microsoft, Oracle, and Google about a potential cloud deal in order to handle AI.
I missed like 4 good fills today. The one that got filled got nuked.
In terms of size for that deal, it could potentially be worth in excess of $1 billion over a several-year period.
I just want price to be into that 0.40 area, honestly, on the NASDAQ, and then S&P close to 18. I got long.
Is now the slightly potential for supply shocks.
A lot of accumulation into that 100s of buyers here.
These assholes are trading at 100. This is kind of what I'd like. Wee. If we can get the pullback towards this area. Spoos towards that like low 40. This is my imaginary ideal move right now.
This time talking on tech names, turning to the FTC chair, who in exclusively says that he believes all of these tech is going to remain under the microscope, but at least from a FTC perspective. Those in particular reference cases involve the likes of Amazon and Meta.
Damn, I even put him on. I didn't get a fill.
Trying to sell
I
it.
was trying to short, like between 105 and 110, honestly, and like have a stop like 20 points higher. Kind of like a swing of that region. Look, like buyer or seller, we need that pullback now, so I'd rather be on the sell than get out looking for the buy, rather than be looking for the buy and they bring it all the way back to lows. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So,
Yeah.
didn't get a fill. So let's see if there's another retest. There was a lot of accumulation of buyers there. That's why I like that. I also had like the 120 as a level. Nothing filled.
This motherfucker Goolsby's talking anything. I ruined my ideas here.
Just make you aware the USVP advanced has begun speaking to the negotiations on the budget bill. They're going well, but does caveat it is early. On inflation, advanced says there's still a lot more to do.
Yeah. Some bad news.
Come on, give me what I want. And make it look good. But just knives through everything, then obviously I'm not going to take this. I really don't want these guys to get stuck down here at this frickin' 58 again. They're listening. Good, good. S&P tumbling. Just a smidge lower. And then you can get stuck and do whatever the hell you want. Yeah, I look to try to buy these spoos into these 18s. Too many orders. See if I can fill NAS maybe a bit smaller into this like 60 area on the long. I don't know if we get that 0.40. Maybe I have to try it again, which would kind of suck. But that negative delta is holding.
Well, the early exit time.
Yeah, shit. 1 second, let me decide what to do with this. I'll pull these.
Flats when you're having fun and goals be stuck.
Alright. I'll pull these limits lower. Just leave resting limits, honestly, into these 55s. If it gets triggered, it gets triggered, but... Triggered on these spoos, which is maybe a bit soon the way that this is going. Might have pulled this S&D NASDAQ longs a little, or the entry at least a little too low. Let's see if I can get this 16.
I'm trying S&P here as well.
As you know, forward 17
so
I know.
I'm sorry, did you say you did not want to put up there earlier?
No, I'm just trying to get into a trade. Just give me a second.
Oh, you're doing a trade.
Yeah. This NAS. I didn't try to pull these limits up a bit. I don't know if I fill those. I shouldn't have pulled that NAS long, a little lower.
With Europe is dependent on whether they take societies in the same direction.
refilling mass.
Trying. It's not working.
That's fair. Are you trying 60s?
Yeah.
Are you being a cheapskate?
Like, I kind of was. Now I'm, like, trying to pull it up a little. But, like, I also don't want to, like, overpay for it at, like, 70.
Yeah. Let's see what he's saying. It's not like the best spots.
I know.
So it's like you get one of those like not the best spots and you're chasing it above. It's like go sideways easily.
Not my ideal, yeah.
S&P on the other hand, like looked good for a second, then like now they start offering. It's in a better area, like in comparison to NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Talking on Geopolis says, how are you supposed to end the Ukraine war if you won't speak to Russia? And it's worth reminding that that US-Ukraine joint press conference has been cancelled.
This NAS looks... Like, I am trying to fill it, like, higher prices, you know, like, what am I expecting here? I filled this NAS. Oh my god.
A photo from the USVP does believe they're on the cusp of peace in Europe. So the fan stating he believes they're on the cusp of peace in Europe, going in relation to Ukraine.
The worst thing you could possibly see, you gotta fill it and it just immediately offers the shit through it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Should have just been stingy on the fill. I gotta break like 0.90 for me to have confidence in this right now. That 0.55 was a better fill. Got these offers. It's an okay area, but it's a little high. destroyed here.
You're destroyed?
I got taken out. Yeah, it's at the better area, but like, do I want to buy this right now? Not necessarily. Ba-ba-bum. Like, this is, they tease you, they rotate enough, they sucker you into getting like a shit entry, and then now, like, ugh. I don't like this. Well, the seller's wanting more.
I think we'll go see these lows, bro. The short 120, the one that I missed, like I was trying even 105, fucking then fell. Went instead I bought S&P and NASDAQ and got stopped. Beautiful.
Yep. I was trading the good area. But my read on this right now isn't fantastic. This sell is coming in pretty hot. Back under the 040 right now. S&P trying to climb into that. S&P is showing some buy side, like there's some buyers that are trying to come in is what I mean. They're not really doing anything of worth.
Next on the schedule in 10 minutes' time, that's up now. Attention commentary from ECB Knowledge. In addition to that, looking out for the next sizes, to expect 69 going in for the 2 year, 70 for the 5, and 44 for the 7, and then for the 30 year tips new issue, that's seen at 9 million.
I don't know. I'm gonna watch this for a bit. Wasn't able to take advantage of these sellers today. More sell side on this, wow.
Back into the lows.
Yeah, those are pretty freaking close.
Yeah, then they puffed and they
The real trade was shorting 210 this morning. Yeah, NQ realistically 900 is the bottom of the auction. I don't know, like, I'm not super convinced of this downside move. I just see this like larger sell as buyers trying to get better prices after we move towards those all-time highs. Like, geez, so many freaking failures of that all-time high.
That's a fair assumption. That's like how much lower can you see? Because we can see a lot lower.
Yeah, not that much lower, like maybe like 900-ish on NAS.
Yeah, bottom of the weekly leaders. Yeah, I was thinking like around like 850, 100, not very far. 100 points give or take. But lows like that they created initially were around like 950. That fake below the 50 points. Set up a nice swing there.
NASDAQ not into its lows, S&P into its lows. I don't know. I might do one more long into these areas and then just walk away if I take the loss.
Something is a good area. I have my eyes on that earlier.
I'm just gonna put these limits out here and then get long into these 07s, 08s on the SPOOs. The 05 area on the NASDAQ, I like it. You got like accumulation of delta. Oh, I feel a little higher than I thought, honestly. That's not good. I thought I was filling 05. What happened here?
Maybe it's a good sign. Maybe it's bad.
Uh-oh.
It's just like 3-point like margin. You can just stop. Need it.
Like a 10-point margin.
Oh, 10. Oh, that's a lot.
I don't know.
So wait, you're trying to buy like 05, you bought 015?
Like I bought 013. I was trying to buy 02s. I guess I didn't see it properly.
That's
Jeez, what the hell? Shite. Tired eyes.
What is the potential of this move, you think? Where would you start?
060, bro. Like, I feel like that's gonna be a huge area for these guys to try to sell into.
For Disney, ESPN is to add user-made content to start to new streaming service via CNBC. I'm more from Barley's COC's plans for global iron ore market in 2025.
So it doesn't look like he's done with me.
Russian-backed seaport of Novorossiysk resumed on February 19th after storm, according to Reuters sources.
Oh, yo, yo, yo. We might see the auction low.
Further on Disney, ESPN targets $25 or $30 a month for the new streaming service.
I've been fighting the seller today, but the seller's been winning. Yeah, I don't like this. I thought I was filling much lower than this bullshit. 10 points is going to make a difference here.
Moment now to the top again, looking out for the US 2.5 7-year note announcements, as well as the 2-year FRN, as well as Nagel from the ECB this week.
What a day. I'm going to stop that as NAS. I'm tapping it. Seller wins. Trade 900. That was that. I admit defeat on today.
You admit defeat?
Yes.